So I want to welcome everybody to the second week of our Creative Business Strategies, Marketing Alliance, and Mastermind. And we'll be going over the purpose of all this here pretty shortly, but I wanted to welcome everybody and then get you rolling. And one of the first things that I want to do here is roll into our PowerPoint. So my name is David Sanders. I think all of you know me. And I just completed a little market research project here with our group and asking what it is that you have tried and did it work, and what do you want to learn about? That way we have several benefits. One of the benefits is I can zero in on the things that people are most interested in. Another is we as a group can start finding out what is working in the marketplace today and what's not. There have been some surprises in both directions, and I'm putting some synopsis of what we're learning and what we're doing into my my newsletter. So you'll be able to see kind of a synopsis of that. And then from there, we will be zeroing in a lot of detail on some of these items here today. I'm intending that this lasts about 30 to 45 minutes, and let me know if there's anything that I can do to answer your questions as you go along. If you have a chat box on your screen, well, feel free to address me by that. If you don't, then I'm going to mute everybody here in a second, and when I do, I will ask you to unmute yourself and speak up if you have a question or you want to make a comment or something of that nature. Fair enough?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Sounds good. So let me do a little bit of management here on our participants. I'm going to mute y'all so we don't have a bunch of extraneous noise. All right. So back to our show. Here we are. Now, the first thing to know is that when I surveyed, finding out how to know what customers and prospects need and want turned out to be in the top 3 of the things that everybody wanted to know about. It was in the top 6 of the 50-some items that people have tried. So almost all of you have tried this to one degree or another. And it was in the top 3 of those items that have worked for people. And so I zeroed in on this because it's such a fundamental to all other marketing actions to find out exactly what is working, what is making the cash register ring, what is it that people want from you. And so if we can answer some of those questions, then we're way ahead of the curve. Now, I don't know about you, but the last number of years, marketing has become increasingly confusing as far as I'm concerned. What I see out there is a tremendous amount of hype on a wide variety of different actions, and many of the things that are hyped don't actually work. Surprise, surprise. However, this is made more complex by the fact that many of the things that we have typically done over the years that have worked very consistently are now no longer working at all, or maybe they're spotty. An example, of course, is the Yellow Pages. Some of you may not even know what that is, but it used to be one of the most reliable marketing tools around. It's been replaced by Google. There's another one, which is direct mail. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we will probably talk some about that. But the key reason that I see that marketing is so confusing is that people have poor information, and that leads them to bad decisions. And that is one of the reasons that I decided to go ahead and do this marketing mastermind, because number one, I found that it was very difficult just on a couple, 3 newsletters a month here and there talking about marketing to really get across a lot of data about marketing. And secondly, with the speed with which marketing is changing in today's environment, if we don't have a continual inflow of data about what's working, what's flopped, what's changed, Google changed something this week that affects everything else. Now the hottest thing that we have going may be Facebook advertising, maybe this, maybe that. Well, let's find out. And let's find out from somebody that we're friends with, that has our best interest at heart, not somebody that is looking to make a fortune off of our misfortune. So this is one of the key reasons that I'm doing this mastermind, and it is a key reason why I picked this topic for our second day in the mastermind. So here are the 3 challenges and promises that I have for you today. One is that you will learn how to know what your customers and prospects need and want. Second is you will use more advanced technology than your competition. And the third is you will learn to do simple online surveys. Now, as I've grown up in market research, I started my first market research division of a consulting firm in 1978, giving away my age here, but I've been in this game for a long time. The way that we used to do it, of course, was to either go and meet people in person out on the streets or at trade shows, still a very viable thing to do, or call people on the phone, gather data, do a lot of interviews, tabulate all that data, then sit down and do a big figure out on, okay, well, what did we learn, how are we going to apply it, and all this. And then that was $5,000 or $10,000, and then you could move on to your next survey. Well, unfortunately, people need faster answers, and they need simpler procedures, and they need lower cost. And so online surveys provide all of those things. There are a few things that you can't do with online surveys, but you'll be surprised at the number of things that you can do successfully with them. So getting started here, I have just 2 rules for my Mastermind and Alliance. One is, if you have questions, ask me using the Zoom chat option or text my cell, which is 818-400-6885. If you don't have the option to do those things, unmute yourself with that little microphone with the little red line to it, and go ahead and speak up so that we can hear you and we can get a chance to communicate. We have a relatively small, manageable group, which is what I'd intended for this mastermind. It's large enough that we've got a lot of people with expertise that'll be able to help and do some presentations and so forth. And we'll also most likely come up with some smaller groups that will help each other directly on their businesses. And additionally, we're going to be looking at how we can get the data to you as rapidly as possible in a convenient time frame and move right on. So number 2 request in terms of my rules is that when I do request a response, like would you please text me in the chat box or on my cell about whatever the question is. When I do that, I would like for you to show some form of life. Is that acceptable? All right, assuming that it is, Jack is smiling, that's a good sign. Assuming that it is, let's move along. At the end of the presentation today, those people that have remained throughout will get a 3-question survey that you can do this week. I will email that to the list of the names of the people that are here at the end of our presentation today. So that's my gift to you, and I'll also teach you during the webinar today, during the mastermind, how to do it, what to do, where to go, how to start it, and all that stuff. So it should be fairly easy for you to take that and actually get some results this week. So the survey that we create today will help you learn about your customers' needs, their wants, their inner thoughts, and that's part of why we're doing this whole thing, right? So My intended result for today is that you learn how to use the knowledge of your prospects and customers' needs and wants to enhance what? To enhance your marketing strategy. Instead of just kind of drifting around and doing a little this, a little that, we need to have a marketing strategy. Even a one-man band just trying to figure out, okay, where our next customer's coming from. Well, you need to have a bit more of a strategy than that if you want to be successful. Now, I want to do a quick survey of our group here, and this comes back to you going and texting on the chat group, or texting my phone, or unmuting yourself. And the first question is, please type yes in the chat box if your company has conducted surveys in the past. Good, so I'm getting a yes, 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 many. Good, thank you, Tony. No, okay. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. No, okay, Steve. Hey, yeah, no, okay. Well, it looks like another yes. Looks like at a glance that we're running about 65%, about 2/3 have conducted surveys. Now, here comes the next key question. Did the surveys help you? Now, hopefully the answer is yes, but I don't want to assume that. So if it did help, please type in helped in the box. Now, Jonathan would like to have me clarify help. By help, I mean you use the data that you learned and the statistics that you were trying to influence went up. Yep, helped. Good.
Not really.
Not really. All right. So stay unmuted and tell me why, because that's the next question. Almost everybody that said that it tried it said it helped, or yes, somewhat, but trouble getting enough respondents. So not sure how valid the results were. That, of course, is an issue. But tell me why? What did you run into? Why didn't it help?
Not enough people in my survey, and those who did respond had a variation, quite a widespread of reasons.
Okay.
Things.
All right, not enough respondents. Now that is a key issue. Couldn't get people to answer the survey, and this was some that was done online with SurveyMonkey. All right, got it. Any other issues where you didn't get results from the surveys? Text or unmute? Okay, so use the button to design the postcard, but haven't quantified how much it helped. Okay, well, that's understandable. But the key question would be, did the postcard pull? Were you able to get some results from the card? And if that was the case, then we would have to, yes, that was the case. So then we'd have to say, well, it appears to have helped. At least it didn't kill our results. All right, so then from what I see there is, okay, well, he says he's gotten a lot of qualified leads. That is awesome. It's a wonderful result, especially from direct mail these days. That's awesome. So the bottom line that I'm seeing here from the basic communication is, if the survey was done with an adequate sized public, with enough people, then it did help, and it was something that you were able to move along with and resulted in some information. Let's see, one more here from Dave Schramm. Okay, yeah. So we've got some issues that you do run into, but I do want to point out that marketing without surveys is hazardous to your health. And it's something that I would recommend that you don't do. So that's why I'm taking this up early on so that you can get started on this project. Now, what is it you want people to do when you send them some promotional material? You want them to take some action, right? You want them to raise their hands or put some money on onto your website, or your set up an appointment, or whatever it is that you want them to do. So how do you create these offers to work? Well, you find the buttons. And what do I mean by button? Well, it's a very simple thing. You just push a button and something happens on the other end. It's a response device. A button in a survey is you find the answer to a question of what can I do to get you to buy my services or my product? Well, if the majority of the people say, well, color it red, give me a red one, guess what? That's a button. And you want to put up there a nice sample of a red one and then have that as your primary option. If you ask the question, like in Dave's situation, where there's a outrageous overpromising in a field, probably there's some people that have figured that out by now. And so it might be that distrust becomes a big button. That was certainly the case in the auto repair industry when I trained a lot of auto repair shop owners to get out on the street of Glendale, California, and get out and learn how to survey in person, and they found that that was the case. So that's a negative button, and there are uses for that can work on. So we are going to be working on finding some buttons. Another thing is, of course, like Jonathan was mentioning with his postcard, what do you say on the postcard? What should you say? Well, the answer to that is you use your survey results to interest the right people. And I'll emphasize this again a little later, but the key thing is not only do you want to survey enough people to find something valid, you also want to survey the right people. If you're marketing to teenage girls, then you wouldn't be surveying dinosaurs or marketing directors or something. You wouldn't be going around asking other marketing directors what they think. You would be surveying teenage girls. If you miss the hot buttons, your marketing bombs. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. It's something that we call blind archery, which is when you are shooting, taking your best shot, but you are completely blind to what people need and want. This is rather costly and often misses even the side of the barn. Surveys are so fundamental to your campaign and your marketing results that they are actually a key to the marketing results. Here's another thing, and an example of a survey I did fairly recently. It was a lot of fun, which was I was doing it for a pirate supply store. You know, there's so many pirates around Tampa that you have to have stores around to cater to them. So this is a pirate fashion store. And so I, of course, tailored it to be a winch or a rogue. The winch, of course, is a lady, rogue is a man. That was a lot of fun. But the idea is you do want to communicate to your public. If they have a certain lingo they speak, well, speak that language. Another thing that you can do is by doing these surveys, and I'm going to be suggesting that you use SurveyMonkey. I'll show you a little bit of data on that in a little bit. By doing these surveys, you can very rapidly figure out what people need, want, or would demand, and then you can take the biggest one of those. Those are the buttons. So people wanted, in this particular group, they wanted classes and handouts. Well, I'm doing a class, and I'm going to send you a handout at the end. Now, another thing that you can do is when you're trying to increase your reach into the public, find out what that public that you're most interested in needs, wants, or would demand. What is it that would be the best foot forward for your company? And here's an example. That's a portion of a survey that goes on and on for about 3 or 4 screen sizes here with different things. But obviously, business cards, if he had been promoting calendars instead of business cards, he would have had a whole lot fewer responses in terms of interesting people. Another example here of a promotional campaign. These are examples of some of the chart types and display options that SurveyMonkey has. And here you see the different answers down here. And all of a sudden you're going across all these different things that people might want, they might want, and then all of a sudden you get over here to, bang, here's a 48% button. You sure want to figure out what that is, because that is your key to opening the door to half of your people that you would talk to. So whereas if you'd been over here developing a great book, and that was what you were talking about, you would have to talk to 50 people to find somebody that was hot on it, whereas over here you talk to 2 people and you find somebody that's hot on it. So this is an extreme example that will show you the exact reasons that it's so vital. Now, what else do you gain from a survey? They will tell you what your prospects need, want, or would demand. And when they're sitting there listening to you, then they're thinking, well, this is BS, why are we here? Or this is what we hoped for. But when you're sending out a postcard, like Jonathan's talking about, or some banner ad or something like that, where you can't see what's going on the other person's face, you can't get a direct communication from them as easily. Well, you sure better be sharp and not going on blind archery, or you will lose a whole lot more as compared with if you got it. Now, another thing, and one of the key uses for market research and surveys and finding out what people need and want from you, is it gives you a strong headline. And that's vital because the headline is your ad for the ad. If you have a weak headline, then not very many people are even going to look at your ad. So it has to be pretty hot. Now, in sales presentations and trade shows and that type of thing, it's important to use the buttons to sell more. You repeat your surveyed buttons as often as possible in your sales campaigns, because in a trade show, maybe you only have time to exchange 3 or 4 sentences with somebody before they drift off, unless you happen to say something that is going to be hot for that person. And that's why you have your surveys, and you use the one that is going to be hot with 50% of the people as your first thing out of your mouth. And then the next thing out of your mouth, that'd be something that's hot with 40% of the people, and on down your list, instead of starting with the thing that your girlfriend likes the best, but it's only a 2% button. Now, I want to have everybody have a lot of sympathy for this poor guy sitting here on the steps, a failed marketer. And why is he a poor guy? Well, because he didn't make his art reflect his customers' buttons. And I've selected here something that I'm going to get some input from you. So again, this is about time for you to get close to that chat box again. And I've selected an ad which is not in a language that most of you speak, with the primary reason that I want you to look at the ad itself and tell me what this ad is promoting. Can you please just type in, what are they selling? Electronics, okay. Phone, good. Remote controlled shredder, yeah, there we are. Shredded electronics, phone and shredder. Yeah, nice package combination, isn't it? Shreddable phone, now we're talking. Well, remote controlled, yeah. Well, here's what they're actually selling is a voice over IP service, a competitor to what you and I are on right now. That's what they're selling. How do they do? Well, 2 thumbs down from Jack. I would say that's at least what I get. Now, I want to move over into, I've made the point by now fairly forcefully that, yeah, we want to know before we go. So how do we know? I've done something on the order of 100 hours of research on different online survey suppliers. I've gone to luncheons with presentations. I've researched and tried a lot of different things. I've surveyed at the Tampa Bay Business Owners Annual Marketing Summit, where I presented the last couple of years in a row on this subject that we're on now. And what I found was that the number one recommended service is SurveyMonkey. And there are a number of reasons for that. I'll explain part of that. How many of you actually have a SurveyMonkey account now? Probably say yes if you have a SurveyMonkey account. I'll keep talking while you respond. But Mike, no, Jonathan doesn't. Okay, good. You can get a free account where you can ask up to 10 questions, get 100 responses on it, and you get standard email support. So less than half of you, maybe 20–30%, have the SurveyMonkey account. I recommend that you sign up for at least the basic free account. You can do the 3-question survey that I'm going to recommend for you quite easily. And one of the key things that is offered here is if you go up scale a ways, you get a lot more priority response. You get custom, you can use your own logos and colors. You can start using what's called skip logic. So you can ask, do you have an interest in electronic equipment? And if they say no, then you skip the next 4 questions that are all about electronic equipment. Because otherwise you're likely to lose them. They'll just blow off and say, I'm not interested in this. I already told them that. But you can skip those and go right to the next. Or if they're doing it on an election, you can ask about, well, you support you're a Republican or a Democrat, and then based on that, you get a proper set of questions for your particular points of view. So those are all kind of skip logic. You can also do cross tabulations and things like that that make it really cool. I do the platinum level, the $780 a year, because I can white label it, and I can get, instead of email support, I can get somebody to call me back in 5 minutes and answer my questions so I can get on with the survey because I'm doing it as a professional. But the basic principles that I've used in selecting this for my own business should tell you that, hey, this is a hot thing. The other thing, and the number one reason that I selected this, is the same exact problem that Joel mentioned just a minute ago. And I do have a question about a misunderstood word here from one of the attendees on this gold $300 per year service. What is A/B testing? And that is something that we will be talking about later in our Mastermind program. That is where you, I think we may have even mentioned it last week, that's where you have 2 different ads, let's say in Google AdWords, ad A and ad B. And half the people that come get ad A, half the people get ad B, and you see how many people click and go to your site. And then so you're testing A against B, and if A is stronger, then you discard B or put it to lower frequency, and then you move ad C, and you test A against C, and you keep doing that kind of stuff. You can do A/B testing also with offers, this price versus that price, and so on. So to go ahead and hit the point here with what Joel ran into and some others is, how do you get enough responses, particularly on kind of difficult areas that you're trying to survey? You send out email to all your friends and family, and you get 6 or 10 responses, and you go, well, that's better than me just sitting in my living room and throwing a dart, but is it really something I want to bet my business on? So one of the things that you can do with SurveyMonkey is you can buy an audience. And so for a cost of anywhere from $150 up to a few $100s, you can send people to your site or to your survey who will actually complete the survey. This is not the same thing as buying an email list of 10,000 people, because I'm just doing a test on an email list right now. But the number of people that are coming in and doing a survey, we sent it out to 200 people, and that were members of this particular site, and nobody out of the 200 people signed up and did the survey. So now we're going to do larger numbers and so forth. Tony also mentioned that he gets good response numbers by offering a reward or prize. So the company that sent the 200 without a response out, we're going to be offering the choice of an iPad mini or an Apple Watch. They get the choice of whichever they want. We go into a drawing, and after we do all the surveys, then we'll have a drawing and somebody will win that. So that kind of thing will definitely work. But for about the same money or less, you could get 100 people that fit a number of different qualifications. You could ask for, are they married, what the age is, how much income they make, are they a business owner, what professions are they in, which area of the country did they live in, which city, which you can just narrow it down and get down to what kind of cell phone they've got, the amazing amount of dialing in that you can do. And then if you don't find what you want there, you can go spend $1,500 and you can get practically anything and guaranteed number of responses to your survey. So this is a very strong advantage compared with other approaches that I have seen on the online marketing, online survey services. The SurveyMonkey Enterprise platform, which is the $780 a year, has a lot of other features and so on. So this is the one that I use and find very helpful. If you're not doing many surveys, it's probably overkill for you. But I want to go ahead and give you 3 easy to ask survey questions. And I'm going to email this to all of you that are still on the call here in a few minutes. So you don't have to take notes, but feel free to if you'd like. The first one is, what do you like best about our company, about my product, about, since Jack is sitting there, what do you like best about artists, or about graphic designers, or about ad agencies, or whatever it is? And then the next question to follow up on that, what do you like least about? This gives you the negative button. So what do you like least about my product, my service, my type of company? And then the third question is, what would we need to change or improve for you to do business with us, or to buy from us, or whatever? This is basically for people that are prospects or customers. It wouldn't be so appropriate for somebody that had never even heard of you. However, you could ask, what would a graphic designer need to do for you to do business with him? This could also be moved over into what would they need to do, have. You know, you can be very creative with this thing, but the idea is that this simple 3-question survey can be executed very rapidly, online, bang, 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 send it out to your list, and you would learn quite a bit. That would be useful, and you might get some business off of it immediately. I just wanted to show you some other things that you can do, that you can survey using SurveyMonkey that maybe you hadn't thought of. And I was just communicating with somebody a couple of days ago who was talking about they had been trying to select a logo, and they went down to the local Starbucks and had printed out the 2 logos they were considering. And so they just showed people randomly at Starbucks, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What does that communicate to you? What does that communicate to you? Do you like it? That kind of stuff. And pick the logo. Here's an example of a logo that Jack designed and that we tested online. That tested out pretty well. Uh, so it's not hard to go ahead and test these things out. Here's another thing that you can test online that I recommend, and that is if you're looking at changing your website so that it works better, it's more attractive, it's responsive, you can use it on the cell phones and so forth. Well, if you are doing that, well, why not test it before you do it? That will definitely work. Okay, so there's just an example of a picture of a website that we have been working on that gave us, got quite a bit of feedback on the site, what they liked, what they didn't like about it. So let me give you the story here, that kind of a fun story. Take a look at that picture up there of Mike Lee. And if everybody would just text in, or in the chat box there, what does that picture communicate to you? What kind of guy is this guy, Mike Lee? This is a survey that I have done earlier, and so, yeah, friendly, easy to talk to, personable, yeah, funny, jolly, happy, fun, happy, friendly, yeah, friendly. Used car salesman, yeah, I probably did that too. Friendly, cheerful. Well, we surveyed, and we basically, I was doing the marketing for this company. I helped launch the company and start them off, and so I said, okay, we need a photograph of Mike Lee. So I sent him out to get a photo shoot done. He got about 150 shots done. His wife picked the dozen that she liked the best, and then I took those and I did what's called an instant impression test on these pictures. And I would show the pictures, and Tony said, used car salesman. Well, literally, there was one of the pictures I was showing around, that was what almost everybody said. Oh, he looks like a slick used car salesman. Well, I'd never do business with him. And the next one would be, oh, he looks like a holier-than-thou college professor. He wouldn't communicate with me, and I wouldn't talk to him, and so forth. Well, here's some other pictures that we could have used of Mike Lee. Think you would have done business with Mike that way? What if you'd used that picture? So, as it occurred, we did the surveys. These were extreme pictures, but some of the others were, I wouldn't have guessed that people would have had as much reaction to them. But we did the surveys, and here's what he had to say about it. That using this technology that I implemented, in less than 2 years, they became the largest company of their kind in the United States. And then 2 years later, we were grossing $1 million a month, at which point I said, I've done my job, you guys are on your own. So they have continued on for those, and they still use a lot of marketing that I put in place many, many years ago. So that's an example of some success. Here are some other things that you can use your survey data for. Obviously, the buttons, you use that in your headlines and your ad copy and so forth. You would also use the competitive analysis, and we will talk more about competitive analysis later on in our mastermind on down the little ways. Positioning, we'll also go over that quite a bit. Just in a nutshell, that is a technology by which you can instantly communicate who and what you are through all the fog and all the BS, and you can get it across instantly. Like if I said that Jack Potter is the McDonald's of graphic designers. Now, first of all, he's going to frown and maybe even hang up. But that would communicate instantly, right? That yeah, low cost, high volume, in and out, bang, that's it. If I said he is the Rolls Royce of graphic designers, now what do you know? He's the best there is, and you're going to pay for it, right? So that's all part of that positioning. And I've only said 3 or 4 words, and you already have a picture, a whole package that comes with that. And that's positioning. It's an extremely powerful tool, and we will talk about that at a later Mastermind class. Logos, it's one of the things we mentioned earlier. Those we tested. Marketing strategy. Your surveys are a key fundamental part of your marketing strategy and underlie it. And also in your sales campaign, as I gave that one example, in a trade show, you're going to want to say, what are the top buttons? That's what you're going to say to people as they walk up. So you're going to want to know before you go. And you want your surveys to guide you and your marketing strategy. And I recommend that you start with my 3 suggested questions. You have some other questions to ask, add them on, blast them out, and let's get going. So, that making sense to everybody? All right. So I want to give you a short commercial, and then I'll give you my promised thing. Before I do the commercial, however, let me just field your questions. I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody, see what questions we have, and I'm going to do my best to answer them as we speak. So let's see here. See if I can find the right place to put this on. Unmute all. Okay, so let me hear from you. Who's got a question? You got a mic? Go ahead and speak up. So Joel says incentives to fill out the survey is a good idea. Any others? The easiest other is to buy an audience. Spend 100, 150 bucks and buy an audience. If you're after a real narrow target, you would have a qualifying question up there, like, are you a parent? Well, you're going to be able to find out if they're a parent. You can select that. But let's just say, do you homeschool your children? Okay, well, if you select parents and you select certain age groups or whatever, then you've narrowed it. But you could have that as a qualifying question, and then you just buy an extra, double or triple the number of people that you would ordinarily buy, maybe more, and then just go through, and you'll have your volume that you need for very often at lower price than if you tried to do a real tightly targeted purchase on a list. That make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Survey monkey work business to business, it definitely does. Joanne asked that. And to speak to that directly, you can on what you would normally do on the survey is design the survey and then get a link that you would paste into an email and send it to your businesses or whatever contacts. You can also put it on Facebook. You can put it out via Twitter. There's a lot of different ways you can get it out, but you would put it out there and then get the responses. You can ask also the qualifying questions. Are you a business owner? And if they're not, we can disqualify them from that point. Steve asked, how many surveys to get a reliable result? Okay, well, now we're into a really interesting one. Thanks, Steve. Let me say this. When I first started in the market research business, we did quite a bit of research on this. And what we found was that to be plus or minus 5% in terms of accuracy, you had to have 263 surveys for a population of a few 100,000 or a million people, a couple million people. So that was the number you needed to be really pretty accurate. For most of our uses in business, we're not necessarily trying to figure out who's going to win the presidential campaign. We're trying to figure out which is our biggest button. What do we put in our headline? So we're not so worried about plus or minus 2% or 5% accuracy. We're looking for, okay, well, what is it that, what number do we have to have to find out the strength of buttons? relative to each other. We don't care so much, is it a 50% button or is it a 40% button? As long as it's the top button of our survey, that's what we need to know. So what I found is that it used to be like 100 names was a consistent one that we would do, because you could find that to be pretty reliable. However, there's one company that actually started the whole marketing research business. That's the Gallup organization. And a very good friend of mine in LA was an advisor to the Gallup organization for many years, and gave some very interesting advice on it. One of the things that they do is that they sell their surveys in groups of 30. They found that 30 is the right number to give you a good feel for what's happening, and that the key is picking the right 30 people that are exactly the people that you're trying to go after. And so I called them up to price them to do a survey for one of my clients, and they start at $260,000 for their 30-person survey.
Wow.
Wow.
But it's interesting to note that 30 was the number that they used. And what I found in observing a lot of surveys over the years is that, we usually get how the buttons are going to stack up by 30, and then they may change a little bit by 60 or something like that. But on an economy basis, I would go with 30. If you can do 50 or 100, that would be improved. Okay, another question. Okay, well, I'm going to mute everybody, and I'm going to wrap up then my stuff. If you would like to ask some more questions or something like that, feel free to put it over here in the box, and I will answer. So now back onto my screen. All right. So in this economy, you don't take chances. You got to make sure your marketing really takes off, and that's by doing surveys. Now, I want to let you know, because I've set you up so that you can go out and start doing surveys yourself. If you're trained in writing survey questions, terrific. Just be my guest. If you need some help, or if you need me to call the surveys or something like that, I'm happy to provide that service. I do this as a profession, so I wanted to at least let you know some of the things that are available and what I can do for you if you need beyond what I've been able to train you on here. I do have a whole training program that I have done on training entrepreneurs on how to market anything to anybody, and going through the whole thing that at least we're going to hit the high points of in maybe 12 to 15 hours. That program takes 60 hours. So it's a little bit beyond what I have time to train people to do everything. But what I am going to do is I can write and do your survey for you, or I can write it and you can do it, whatever kind of combination that you would like that would make the most sense. And here's an economy 10-question survey that I can do at a very low cost for Mastermind members. Basically, you would say, yes, I'm interested. Then you would pay for it. We would work out what it is that you need to know, and that would be a conference call or meeting in my office, whatever, or me coming to your place of business. We limit it to 10 questions, 50 respondents. We would have, and there are 3 open-ended questions. Now, if you'll notice some of the questions that, my goodness. Well, you know, my goodness. But there's some questions like, what do you like best about graphic designers? Is an open-ended question, because a lot of people will have a lot of responses. However, if you say, which of the 3 things do you like best about graphic designers? blah, 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 then that's a closed-ended question. They're picking from it. An open-ended question is preferable from a market research point of view. It is also a lot more work because you have to take all those things that were said and divide them up into categories, and so it's not something that a computer does. It's something that I have to do myself. But I would design the questions, and you'd either provide your own list and maybe an incentive has been suggested, or we can buy a audience from SurveyMonkey for, as I say, anywhere from about $150 up to maybe $300-400, depending on how narrowly you want to target it. And if you want doctors that make over $250,000 that live in Tampa Bay, that this and that, well, you're going to pay quite a bit more, and probably it'll become a small list. But then you can send the survey out via email or Twitter. You can share it on Survey or your website and other places. We can, and I am trying to do. I'm trying to train you, not just have you hire a professional such as myself. I'm trying to train you on how to do it. So if you do have the interest, I will train you on how to write the questions as we're doing it. I'll show you how to tabulate the results for yourself. If you just want it done for you, I can also do it that way, but I want to turn over as much as I can. And then that will give you graphs like I showed you earlier, as well as an Excel spreadsheet so you can look over and see how it went. And of course, tips on how to use the results. The benefits is you get a pro designing the questions, you get a pro actually making the analysis and recommendations, and you can filter and cross-tabulate responses by custom criteria during the survey and afterwards. So I do have a guarantee on the survey work, which is that you'll either get useful data that will aid your marketing efforts, or we'll keep working with you till you do. And if we can't provide real value, we'll refund the money. So here's an example of one of my clients from the Midwest. They had a below average practice for many years, and then we boosted it up so his new patients were 10x and his collections were an incredible 20x, and he's now added another dentist, and so I don't, probably 25 or 30x by now where we started many years ago. So this technology definitely does work. And I do have a special offer for members of the Mastermind that would like some help on surveys. Normally the web survey that I described is $897. So I am knocking $400 off of that. If anybody would like one, I will do that for $497, which is below my cost on it. So if you are interested in it, that's something that I'm willing to do. And then what I would suggest, if you've got an interest, then go ahead and type yes in the text box or text me and let me know that you'd like the consulting on how to do it, or you'd like to have me do it yourself. I am providing free as much the resources as I can get across in a reasonable amount of time, so that I'm not overstressing everybody. But if you are interested in that, please do enter in a yes in the text box, or call me or text me at my cell. So I'd encourage you to get those surveys done. I'm happy to do it for you if you need the help. And I will be emailing everybody that's on the call my 3-question survey that you can do this week. And I'm looking forward to it, making your very best year ever, and us continuing to create on the future with our Mastermind. Upcoming Mastermind classes I'm defining based on a number of different criteria, but some of the things that we're looking at, logos and branding was a very highly rated question, and I'm going to have Jack talk about that some next week. We're going to PR and marketing was another very highly rated thing that a lot of people want to know about, so we'll be doing something on that next week. Marketing plan we'll be following, then Facebook ads, newsletters. So we've got a lot of different things that are going to be coming up that I think will be useful for you and to be able to get your teeth into. So without any further ado then, it's been a pleasure talking with you today, and we're going to be stopping the recording at this point. And